It's been one of those days for me today. Uh, and there's no dramatic reason for it. It's been one of those days. And now here I am. I have no more daylight left, so I hope you'll be okay with the subdued lighting. I'll say that. Uh, we're we finished last time the doxology in First Timothy chapter 6, but there's one word that I want to say something about. What's the last word in the doxology? Let me just read the whole thing. God, the blessed and only ruler, the King of kings and Lord of lords, who alone is immortal and who lives in unapproachable light, whom no one has ever seen or can see, to him be honor and might forever. Well, to him be honor and might forever. Amen. So I guess there's really two things I want to talk about. First of all, there's no way that I can increase God's might or his honor. I can ascribe those things to him. I can adore him for those things in the adoration sense. I can tell others of this. One of the biggest things I get from this is I must never forget. He deserves honor. He is mighty. And it's not just for a period of time. It's forever. We're incapable, I'm convinced, no, let me go back. I am incapable of visualizing or understanding forever. One of the tag endings of the model prayer that has been translated and preserved is, for yours is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. That to me, that is, that's one of the most powerful things Jesus ever taught his disciples. I think they would have, like me, said, yeah, we don't know about forever. We know about long periods of time. We only know our perception of long periods of time. But forever? That's like, all right, here's the timeline. You just need to kick out both ends. Forever. Beyond me. But that's how long God deserves honor. That's how long he deserves to be acknowledged for his honor and his might. Forever. And then this last word. Amen. We, around here, we always say amen. And it's really kind of like the way to sign off a prayer is, here's how everybody who's listening in knows the prayer is over. And I think in my theological brain, I realize God doesn't need to be told when the prayer is over. But we use it as though it was the period at the end of everything. Amen. Amen. When I was a kid growing up, there were occasions, the churches that my dad preached at were very conservative, and they were also, in my memory, not very expressive. But there were occasions when something's said by a person or from the stage or behind the pulpit would stimulate a hearty amen, brother. Well, so I had this, we're using this word in two different ways, and I don't quite get it. Well, the literal meaning for amen or amen is pretty simple. It means potentially two things, at least. One is, so be it. The other is, I am in agreement. I don't know. I don't think it's the agreement thing here with Paul. I think it's the so be it thing. If you have an electronic version of the Bible that's searchable by word, I spent some time looking at all the places. I mean, there are 72 places in the NIV, Old and New Testaments, where the word amen or oh, brother, sorry. Did I mention it's been one of those kind of days where amen or amen is in the text? In the New Testament, virtually all of the times amen appears are in contexts very like this, where the nature and attributes of God are expressed, and at the end of these words and expressions comes the word amen. Now, in a sense, surely Paul could have been saying, I totally agree. He is the blessed and only ruler. He is the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, who alone is immortal and who lives in unapproachable light, whom no one has seen or can see. And yes, I totally agree. He deserves to be given honor and acknowledged for his might forever. I agree. So be it. Now, so be it sometimes sounds like Captain Picard saying, make it so. And it almost is. It's an expression of this we want. May this come to pass. Yes, I agree. Well, that's not going to change your life, but it might give you a little better background. So if you ever get on Jeopardy and the question comes, or the answer is the scriptural word, amen, well, you'll be able to give the answer, okay, whatever. But Paul's not done. Paul is like almost every preacher I have ever heard. Not all. Some of my favorite preachers are not like this at all, but a lot of preachers, they'll indicate that they're really done, but they're not. I remember as a kid, hey, dude, there's no reason to start putting your shoes on until they announce and remind us of what the invitation hymn is, regardless of what Dad said about and in conclusion. But Paul kind of did that. This grand, amazing, inspiring doxology. Amen. Oh yeah, I'm not done. Verse 17. Command those, all of a sudden, the tenor and tone takes a turn. Command, not suggest, don't urge, command. Those who are rich in this present world, not to be arrogant or to put their hope in wealth, which is so uncertain, but to put their hope in God, who richly provides us with everything for our enjoyment. I want to break that out and pull it apart. It's a command. And Timothy is to command those who are rich in this present world. Now, I think it's what you first think. That's financially wealthy people. There were people in Century 1 who were financially wealthy, but you have to also realize wealth was not measured in quite the same way as it is today. Wealth very often was not measured in currency, right? We measure wealth today in terms of dollars. And if you're a bazillionaire, you're among the wealthiest people in our entire world are billionaires, and I can't hardly even imagine a billion. There's more and more of those. That the number of these people is growing all the time. And in Paul's day, what was viewed as and how was wealth measured? Well, in a similar way, but it didn't have anything to do with currency. I think it's important that we kind of go back ever so often and think about in ancient Rome, in the empire, there was a universal currency, the Roman currency. But when you got to an individual city, Jerusalem was a terrific example of this. They had temple currency. So these were coins. There was no paper currency. I mean, there was papyrus, but there wasn't paper yet anyway. Okay, so coinage that was specific to Jerusalem, and in fact specific to the temple. I don't think you could spend it anywhere else. It would have to be exchanged in order to have its value available to spend someplace other than the temple. But the reverse of that is true as well. And there were folks who were profiteering from that thing where if I came from, in Galilee and I came to the temple, I couldn't use Galilean currency to pay my temple tax or to purchase an animal for sacrifice. I had to exchange my currency for temple currency. And one of the reasons that's worth knowing and remembering, is that when Jesus turned over the tables of the money changers in the temple, coins scattered in every direction. They would have had to, because the currency exchange people made their money by charging you a fee to convert your currency. Now, that happens to us all the time when we travel overseas, because American dollars are not equal 1-to-1 with the currency in, for instance, the dollar does not equal the euro. Right now, the euro is a good bit stronger than the dollar. At one point in time, the dollar was worth more than the euro, but not so anymore. So if we want to use cash, then we have to go through an exchange, and they charge a commission, a fee, for converting American dollars into euros. And it's, I would always think it would be a whole lot better if they just went they just converted it and then it was free. That's not how the world works. But anyway, okay. Sorry, I went on a big rant about currency that has only this to do with where we are in 1 Timothy 6, verse 17. Command those who are rich in this present world. It was not about the currency they possessed. It had to do with property, buildings, land, livestock, slaves. It was a currency thing, but jewels. You know what else? spices. We take them so for granted. You can buy them for peanuts at Walmart. You couldn't do that. Back then, there were some spices that were precious and very expensive, particularly spices used in the burial process. Okay, so come on, Steve, land the stinking plane. Okay, there were rich people back then, and there are rich people today. And although I've gone over my time, I'm going to go a little bit farther to say you're one of them. Really. But you can't just look at your neighbors. You can't just look at the other people in your city or in our state or in our country. That's not where the comparison lies. The comparison lies with the 7.5 billion people on this planet. And do you realize we're, in terms of the actual wealth, we're like the top, somewhere around 5% of the world. If you're making an average income, you are, 80 times, 90 times richer than the average person in third world countries, for sure. Well, okay, so knowing that, it doesn't give you anything. But it kind of plows some ground that I want to plant some seeds in next time. Sorry for the rant. Thanks for the grace. I look forward to connecting with you again tomorrow, next time anyway, on So Care with Stevie Boy.